Hey, what is going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at a new issue of Gundam Hobby Life magazine, GHL magazine here, or Mook, I guess it would be. This is a not monthly magazine. It comes out a couple times a year, I want to say. This is issue 18, and it is for 2,400 yen, so around $25 for this. Not too bad considering all of the amazing works that we have included in here. So the theme of this issue is all that Gundam in other centuries. So it's basically non-universal century stuff. So there's looks like other centuries kits in here. We've got, of course, works by Naoki, who is kind of the primary artist, I think, behind the Gundam Hobby Life in general. Then there's always some really cool works in here by some other leading Japanese modelers. So here on the back, we've got an advertisement for the Advanced Zeta reboot there, looking very beautiful. Comics Volume 5, now on sale. Would love to check that out. Alright, so here on the front, obviously just the Masquerade Wing Verka, recently released, and that's looking beautiful. Surely that's a Naoki build there. And we have this kind of included little separate booklet here in this case, where this is Heroes Mobile Suit Selection. And it appears to be just a set of like the official artwork illustration here for a bunch of the lead Gundams from non-UC series. So the Shining Gundam, the God Gundam, the Wing Gundam Zero, Gundam X Divider, Gundam Double X, the Wing Gundam Zero EW Custom, the Strike Gundam, and its different packs there. The Freedom, the Impulse Gundam, the Destiny, Strike Freedom, Gundam Exia, Double O Gundam, Double O Quanta, Age 1 Normal, and its variants, Age 2 Normal, Age 2 Dark Hound, Age 3, Age FX, lots of lead Gundams from Gundam Age there, Gundam Barbatos, Lupus, and Lupus Rex. And there you go. So I don't know, just some information about the Gundams, I guess, a little bit. It's mostly kind of illustrations in here, isn't it? It's not really too much in the way of actual, like, other text, actually. So it's just illustrations of the different Gundams. I guess I don't really know what that's for, but all right. Back to the issue at hand here. We have something about a crossbone mechanic exposition over here, which I guess is maybe like a separate book that's going to be sold of just crossbone mechanic stuff. So that's kind of interesting. I wonder what that's all about. And here we have like our table of contents for what's going to be in this issue. Let's get right into it. All that Gundam in other centuries. So you can here see a kind of headshot of all the different Gundams that are going to be included in here. So yeah, we've got Gundam Age, Double O, God Gundam, Wing, X, Strike Freedom, Barbatos looking all smashed up there. So let's get right into it here. So this first one is the Wing Zero Verka, modeled by Naoki, looking very beautiful. As far as I can tell from this, and let's see if there's any work in progress images, not a ton changed on this build other than like some added detail. I think there's a little bit of like added panel lines in here. But there's a bunch of images of this. So here is a little bit of work in progress images over there and a little bit of explanation about that. And yeah, it doesn't look like a whole lot. Maybe a little bit of refinement here and there, a little bit of detailing done on that. But let's see. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that it was just all the same build, and it is. It's I don't remember other issues having like so many pages dedicated to like the one build. I mean, it is the one from the cover, so I mean it's kind of like the main kit from this issue, but there's certainly a lot of pages and a lot of images dedicated to this one particular kit. So it's certainly beautiful. The colors on that look really nice. I like how there's a little bit of black added in on that. You can see changed up the colors a little bit. Like here on the forearm, the side skirts, up there on the upper body. It's a really dark purple, almost kind of like black looking color that you've kind of added into there. That's interesting. Also, it looks like added some like photo etch or something parts inside the clear part on the chest to add some added detail inside there. That looks really nice. All the panel lining around on the legs looks really nice as well too. Extra panel line added on there for some extra detail. Of course, there's like the two-tone white effect going on there as well too. And some other different poses of that, kind of the classic poses there. And of the transformation as well too. Kind of the backside, standing, all that, standing, flying. Yeah, so lots of really nice photos of that and some more text down here about that. Let's get into this section over here, which is 1989 to 1999 Gundams. So we got Gundam Victory down here, and it looks like that's F91, F90, G Gundam, Gundam Wing, Gundam X, and Turn A, and 0083. So just kind of talking about all the different series, I guess, that came out within that 10-year span. And there was a lot, I mean, there's a lot of great Gundam series came out within that series. That time they were, I think like Sunrise was branching out a lot. Obviously, a lot of these non-UC series. I guess after Zeta and Double Zeta, and I guess there was like 0080 also within there. But yeah, anyway, a lot of really great, interesting stuff came on that time. So here we have the God of Gundam. This one is modeled by Yusuke Yokota. Looking very nice, and this is the 100 scale, so that means this Funsaiki must be entirely scratch built, because obviously there's no 100 scale version of Funsaiki. I believe there was a resin kit, but I'm pretty sure that's probably not the resin kit, and that's probably just a scratch built. So let me go ahead and just, again, we'll fast forward a little bit so I can see the work in progress about that, because here's that, and I can't tell. But apparently this is using the high-resolution model God Gundam, for one, so it's not the master grade. So that's interesting, and it does look a lot better. I think he's definitely done some work on that. I don't know, yeah, you can see some refinement work done on that as well, too. That looks really nice on the God Gundam there. But yeah, the Funsaiki, I'm guessing, is just entirely scratch-built. The God Gundam looks very cool. I don't know, yeah, I mean, he definitely made the legs. I don't know if it's actually kit bashed with the master grade or if it's just changed, but I would guess that it's using like the leg parts from the master grade, because there's a few things of the high resolution design that I didn't really care for. One was like how big and bulky the legs were, and these are definitely different. So I would guess, without being able to read the Japanese text where it's probably explained, that what he did was kit bash this with the high resolution and the master grade. So the legs are the thinner type legs from the master grade, and it's got like the high resolution feet, which are still looking quite large, and then the high resolution shoulders and upper arms, and the head might also be from the master grade. Actually, that's maybe why it was throwing me off in the beginning. So yeah, I think it's a mix-up of the mashup of the two of them, actually, but that's very cool. All right, and our wing Gundam here is modeled by I don't know how to pronounce that. Kaxile. Coxile. I don't know. Anyway, really nice colors on that. I like the orange for the energy containers there on the rifle. That's really cool. And also the yellow is a really nice kind of like pale yellow color, but it looks really good. I really like the color of yellow used for this. The dark blue is one thing that I just don't really like about kind of all of the different lead wing mobile suits. I don't like how dark the blue is, and it's quite dark in this one as well too. It's just such a high contrast with the white and then the dark blue. But the yellow does look really nice on there. Very sharp model for this one as well too. Some really nice details on there. It's not like packed with a ton of details, but with the details that are there are very nice, elegant, really cool little kind of like feature here added onto the wing. Sort of like a hinge, like latch hinges there, like I guess for that part of the wing there. That's really cool. Yeah, and especially that pale orange used for the detail on the rifle. Can definitely get behind that. Alright, there it is transformed, and there's a nice big image of that so you can really see it in full detail. And it's definitely looking very good. Yeah, I like the color choices for this quite a bit. That's cool. There's some more work in progress images over here, a couple little ones just so you can see a little bit about that. Some added detail, added refinement there on the claws and the forearms there, for example, as well too. So yeah, that's great. Alright, the Gundam X here, modeled by Sho Kawaguchi. This one, another kit that I've heard a lot of great things about it. I've not yet built it. I've built the Double X for the X. Not yet. And this one also looks great. It's really nicely done. Oh man, that off-white looks really good. It was kind of hard to tell in these pictures because of that black background. I couldn't really see it quite so well. But in these pictures, I can really see that color of white, and it's a really nice kind of off-white, slightly warm tone of white used for that. It looks great. And then with that black panel lining, a lot of times like black panel lining on white parts, people will tell you don't do it, but you know, it can be done in a way that looks nice, and I think it does look really nice in this. I'm not sure if it's totally black or just like a dark gray, but it's pretty dark panel lining on that white, but I think it looks really nice actually in this case. It looks good. It certainly has a stylistic look to it, but I don't know. He's pulling it off quite well, I think, actually. Very nice. Here's some more pictures of that with the black background. Yeah, it just doesn't look as nice as with like the lighter color background. It looks great either way, but you can really appreciate the colors more, I think, when it's got that light background going on. But all right, do we have any work in progress for this? A little bit here. Looks like he added a little bit of detail like on the back side of the V-fin. I don't know if that's just added detail or just there to stabilize the V-fin or whatever, but and a little other little bits of work done on that. Some refinement on some of the parts there on the arms and legs, it looks like. Yeah, I'll have to get my hands on the X Gundam when I can. I know the problem is that that it hasn't been reprinted in a while, and a lot of people I've heard have been trying to get the kit and not been able to get their hands on it because it's not easy to find at the moment. So hopefully Bandai will reprint that, and then we can have a look at that one in the near future. 2000 to 2009 series. This is going to be basically like Seed, Double O, Seed Destiny, and let's see what else. Gundam Igloo in there as well too, but that's UC era stuff, so we won't see anything from that. So we have the Ale Strike Gundam. This one is modeled by Ken16W. Oh yes, if you guys, I'm sure I recognize that name from Twitter, so I'm sure I'm following him. You guys should as well too on Twitter. But man, this one looks really nice as well too. I love the fact that it's got the bazooka. I've talked about this before, that I love that Seed bazooka, and it's used with a couple of different mobile suits, I know, but usually, as far as I know, it's not included with any version of the Master Grade Strike. I think you'd have to get it from something else, but that looks really good, actually. And I would wonder if that bazooka could also be just like kit bashed or like scratch built. I'm sure there is a 1/100 scale version of that though, probably. That came with like some P Bandai Stray kit or something. Although I don't know offhand. Anyway, it does look really nice though. And the Ale Strike, of course, the Master Grade RM kit is a beautiful kit. He's added some nice detail to this with the two-tone white there on like the knees and the thighs. With some extra scribing on that. Yeah, it looks really cool. I like how he made the knees much more angular, I think, than usual. Just offhand, as far as I remember, the Strike's knees are changed quite a bit on here. It really kind of reminds me a little bit more of like the shape, kind of in general, of like the Gundam Mark II's knees. But those look really nice. And yeah, in general, just kind of made the Gundam a little bit more blocky looking based on like just the changes he made to the design, and also the panel lining parts that he added to it are just kind of more square and not as like I don't know. The Ale Strike Gundam is not a super like rounded design like a Zaku or anything like that, but he definitely kind of squared everything off, and it looks really nice. Everything's very angular on it, and some really nice photos here as well too of that. Man, looks very good. Pretty standard colors for that, but it looks good. It's really nice red and blue colors for that, and of course the two-tone white looks nice. Here it is about reshaping the knees. You can see right over there. Looks like you also did some work on the shoulders as well too, kind of adjusted the shapes of those a little bit. All right, then the Strike Freedom Gundam here, modeled by Early Chop. Oh yes, Early Chop, another common one to see around on Twitter. So if you guys are on Twitter, you can probably see his work around there quite often. He is all over the place. The Strike Freedom Gundam, this one is using what kit? The Master Grade. So this one, obviously there's no 2.0 of this Master Grade, but I would imagine this might be partially kit bashed with some parts of the Freedom 2.0, but actually maybe not. I don't know. I'm looking at it and I can't really tell. Maybe it's just all using the old Master Grade of this, which came out in 2006. It tells me right down here. One thing that I'm noticing right off the bat that I do really like about his build here of this is that the head looks really nice. I mean, I don't know what the head looks like of the stock kit, but I can definitely tell he must have done some work on the head. It looks like a little bit more rounded. It looks really nice. Also, the gold is a not very super like in your face obvious gold color. It's a very dark gold color, which I think looks pretty nice. You know, some people might not like that. If that's like one thing that you like about the Strike Freedom is the gold frame. With it not being as visible in this kit, you may not like that aspect of it, but I think it looks pretty nice. It almost kind of has a little bit kind of like a greenish tint to it as well too. It's a really interesting color of gold. I think he really wanted to kind of downplay the gold a lot and kind of focus on all other colors, but still keeping an interesting color for the gold. It does look really nice. So you can see a couple of little work in progress photos over here. One thing that I love about the Gundam Hobby Life magazines is that there's not like a bunch of adverts in it, so it's not just like half full of advertisements like the monthly magazines and stuff. It's like half the magazine's just advertisements. This one, what's great about these is that it's all just actual work, like Gundam, like just built painted models and stuff, which is great. I do wish though that there was a little bit more work in progress. That's always interesting to see, so I wish that there was a little bit more of that. I'm sure probably in the text there's a lot of text talking about the work that was done on the kits. But just visually, it would be nice to see some more pictures. Usually there's like just a couple little pictures of work in progress. I'd like to see some more of that. But modeled by Fuji, here's the Master Grade Gundam Exia. And the clear parts that he used for like the GN ribbons on that look really nice. I would have to imagine that's not what's included with the kit. Because, man, those look really great. And it even looks like there's like some text on that. So I wonder how he did that. I can't really see it in this one very well, but you can definitely see it here. There's like some text on the ribbon. That looks really cool. But yeah, the colors of that look great. Man, I wonder what he used for that. I wonder if, well, let's go ahead and check a little bit later on here. What did he use? What did he use? Ah, yeah, there is a picture talking about that. But I'll have to get out my translator app to see about what he used for that. But that looks great. And yeah, you can definitely tell there's some text added onto that. And I mentioned this earlier before about there seemed to be like a lot of pictures of the Wing Gundam, but it seems like with all of these, they have quite a lot of pictures. And I don't remember past issues spending quite so many pages on single builds. It would be like 2 or 3 pages, but these are like 5, 6, 7, 8 pages per build. That's quite a lot. Man, I love this, what he's done with the blue on there. Not only has he done like a kind of subtle camo, sort of like a Deep Striker XS Gundam kind of large splinter camo there, which looked great, but also added some white onto the bottom of the shoulders there. So like just the top half of the shoulders is blue and the bottom, like kind of third, I guess, is white. So kind of less blue than the original kit has. And also like some of the parts here in the chest, like this bottom part also supposed to be blue. He changed it white. So he added more white to it and subtracted some blue, which looks really great on the Destiny, or on the Exia here. Ah, man, look at that. That looks so good. All the different colors of like the Aurora film or whatever he used for like the ribbons looks great. And then there's like, yeah, the subtle coloring on that. Oh, there's like camo pattern on the white as well too. I didn't even notice that. It's kind of harder to see in this one. Oh, yeah, you can see it a little bit. That's really subtle, but man, that looks great. The camo pattern that I was mentioning up on the shoulders is actually everywhere on the white as well too. It's just very subtle. You can kind of see it like around here. I'm not sure. Hopefully you guys can see it in the camera. But man, that looks really cool. Yeah, I like that. And those like shiny film parts on there look great, reflecting all the different like colors. It's like a rainbow going over the cross of the kit, across the kit. That looks really nice. I like that a lot. And I don't really even like the Exia Gundam all that much, but that's a beautiful model. All right, 2010 to 2019. Here we've got Unicorn, Gundam Age, Build Divers, let's see, Awakening the Trailblazer, and of course Iron Blooded Orphans. So here we've got the 00 Quant, or 00 Quanta. This one, what do we got going on here? Kind of very dark purplish blue kind of color, which looks pretty nice. The Quanta is one of those designs that if it's like just standing there and if I'm just like looking at the design like, I don't know, just like as it is, there's a lot about the design that I don't really care for, but when you see it posed up in some action poses, it looks great. So it's definitely a design that I think looks so much better when you've got it in some different action poses. But here it is standing, and I will say one thing that stands out about this build is the decal work. The decals look really nice. He's got some nice kind of decal work going on the shoulders, on the knee there. That's pretty cool. Whatever he's got going on there underneath these clear parts also looks really interesting. Can't really tell quite what that is, but it looks like super extra sparkly. And like underneath the ones there on the knees as well too, on the side of the legs. And on these clear parts, yeah, what is that? So you can see it here up on the sword part. It's got like kind of a camo pattern done on that using like some... It's got to be like some like crystal color paint. What is that? There's nothing. Yeah, there's a little bit. Must be talking about that painting the inside of the clear parts. Yeah, it must be like one of those like I don't know, I can't remember what they're called. I know like modeling master I think makes some of those different like crystal color paints. It must be like some of that. But I'll check on that. This one is modeled by a Ziggy, by the way. I didn't mention that earlier, but. There's that. All right, let's check out the age 2 normal here, I should say. This one modeled by Wandermaru. Once again, a beautiful color of yellow on this. Is a very orange yellow color. A lot of little panel lines added on this, which is not necessarily to my taste. There seems to be kind of a lot of them in some areas. I don't know. It just doesn't really fit the design or the design of the panel lines. I don't know. Not working so much for me in this case. Yeah, they're kind of very hectic all over the place down here. They're very well done. And like between the decals and the panel lines added to this, yeah, it's kind of a lot going on. there, it seems like. But the colors look great. That blue and that red. Yeah, especially in the legs where it's just, and I can understand what, like with the legs, it's a lot of white in there and like just a kind of solid trunk shape. So you want to like break it up with some detail or something, I think. But I think what is also strange is because the panel lines are all the same thickness for the most part. Because like sometimes you'll see like a variation. It'll be like, for example, like one line will be in like a 0.3 millimeter, and the other one will be slightly thicker, and then the next line will be slightly thinner again. Or you'll see some more variation, or you see like some notches done in like a little bit thicker chisel or something like that, for example. But they look kind of like all the same size, which just looks a bit weird maybe too. There's the transformation. The transformation looks great on that. That looks really cool. It's a nice picture of that, nice photograph. And over here, I've got a couple of little work in progress photos and some nice detail photos of that. The torso here looks really nice. The detail on that looks good. It's just kind of the legs was a little bit too much for me, but the torso looks great. The head looks great. Lots of little scribing done on that. So he definitely likes doing some fine scribing work. No doubt about that. All right, by Awaxi here. This one is the Master Grade Barbatos here, of course. All smashed up and battle damaged. All that missing most of its shoulder armor. So just the damage effects on this look really nice. Aside from like the actual like paint weathering, just like the physical weathering of the kit around on some different parts. Really interesting modification done on down here on like the ankles, kind of adding some kind of like external frame kind of bit around on like the ankle parts. Anyway, some really interesting modifications down here on like the toes as well too. It's kind of a place that you would think like you'd want to focus your work like kind of around this section, and maybe the feet wouldn't be quite, they wouldn't get quite as much attention, but actually it's kind of the first thing I saw is the little bits of detail and stuff added onto the feet that really kind of stick out to me. That looks really cool. But yeah, the damage done to these parts up there, the shoulder and like the added detail inside there. It's like this part is kind of like the interior part of the shoulder. It's not that detailed. It looks like you can maybe add a little bit more detail to that since it's going to be exposed and it's going to be showing. You need to detail it up a little bit. So that looks really nice. Really nice, like kind of dark base for this. I would guess that like paint. The kit was all painted very dark first before I painted the white. So you get all this interior sections that look super, super dark. That looks great. Very nice. And some interesting work done there on the mace as well too. You kind of added this little bit. I'm not really sure what that's meant to be. Just kind of this little thing here attached onto the side of the mace with like some cables running to that. I guess that's maybe supposed to be something added to the mace to maybe sort of like electrify it or something like that, give it some sort of effect where as it makes contact with the enemy mobile suit or something like that, it will electrify it, something along those lines. I don't know, that could be. That's kind of the first thing that comes to mind. If that could be something to add to, instead of just like the physical effect of hitting an enemy with the mace. Well, here's a little thing about that. So again, it's in Japanese, so I'd have to get out the translator and see what that's about, but there's a little blurb talking specifically about that, so I'll have to check that out. And then there's some more work in progress images down there. So interesting, he like remade the details on like the turbine parts in the chest. It looks like that seems like a lot of work for something that you can barely see at all, but man, that's cool. Now the battle. So we always have this in these magazines, that there's a kit where it'll be the same kit modeled by two different people, and it's usually, I think almost always, it's Max Watanabe versus Rampage Torio Toriyama. As far as I can remember, it's usually those two. It's always Max, I feel like, and then someone else. In this case, kind of interesting. Let me see here. Okay, the way they have the names, they have it on Max's name on this side and Rampage over here. But I was looking at the builds and I was thinking like, this definitely looks like it's more Max's style painting. Or did they switch and like Max did a super clean one and Rampage like tried to mimic Max's style? That would have been really interesting. I would have loved if that was the case, but it looks like, looking at the next page, no, the one that looks like it's painted by Max is actually painted by Max. So that's too bad. I would have loved if they would have done that, like tried to copy each other's style. That would have been cool. But anyway, this is the Master Grade Rick DS, a mobile suit design that I don't particularly care for, but this looks really great. Of course, Max's painting style always looks good. So this one's done in white and it looks very snowy white color, all hand brush. It looks like there's some modification to this as well. I think he extended the torso. It certainly looks a lot longer than usual, the torso parts done on this. And let's see, I'd imagine there's probably some other modifications done as well too, but maybe not. or at least not that they're highlighting here in the book. But here's also a red version as well too, so it looks like each of them maybe built two. And that looks really great. The red colors look really nice on that, I will say. This one also doesn't look like it's extended, but I don't know. Yeah, man. The Rick DS, not a mobile suit that I really like, and I've never really been that interested in it, but man, Max has really changed my mind. I'm really liking the look of that. Seeing Max's painted build there. That looks really nice now. I'm starting to have second thoughts about wanting to ever build the Master Grade Rick DS now. And then here's Rampage's version. A little unique there with these leg parts, adding like a second set of leg parts up on here as shoulder armor. And then these parts, which look so familiar. Oh, those are the backpack parts. I was going to say, I certainly recognize those. The backpack parts added onto the shoulder as well. I kind of like the idea. It's a little bit much. I don't know. The shoulder, I mean, they look kind of weird. I love how clean it is. It's super clean. That clean white looks great. That looks really, really nice. Yeah, I don't know if I like that, but it's interesting. I'll give it that. That's certainly one way. Oh, and he's got like some more backpack parts used as like a kind of back skirt section there with the beam rifles stored up in there. That's unique. And here's a black version, which is like a kit bash of that. Oh, this one's by Naoki. Okay. Yeah, I think I'd seen this one around. So it's basically like a kit bash of the Rick DS, and also looks like using... Those look like the feet parts from his Kubelay. What was it? The Kubelay Damned. And also using some parts from his Hyakushiki. Oh yeah, here it is over here. Yeah, from the Hyakushiki Crash, the thighs, the midsection, the forearms, the backpack, and the weapons from the Hyakushiki Crash. Some mid-torso parts there. And the feet from the Kubelay Damned. Interesting indeed. So yeah, that looks pretty cool. Kind of kit bash of his own different variants, and then with the Rick DS. That's pretty cool. Yeah, definitely I like his version of the Rick DS there. It's a nice take on that. Alright, then moving on to the next section here. Designed by Naoki. Get ready for a new Gunpla project. Oh, alright. So, Unknown 1, Unknown 2, Unknown 3, Unknown 4, and more, ... question mark. So, yeah, if you guys didn't know, like, some of the recent P-Bandai Master Grade kits, like the Kubelay Damned, the Hyakushiki Crash, also like the Stormbringer, and the Jim Turbulence, for example, some of these, Jim and Ball's World Challenge, Gundam Build Fighters, Build Divers, whatever Master Grade kits, the P-Bandai kits, are all Naoki designs. So it looks like he's got some more designs coming down the pipe in the near future, which look pretty cool there. It's kind of hard to tell based on what I'm seeing here. But I would venture to guess this one looks like something based off of the Strike Gundam, sort of. I don't know, just kind of giving me that vibe, and the V-fin there, the kind of shape of the legs, and the backpack kind of reminds me a little bit of kind of like the Ale Pack, but kind of different. And this one, I don't know. Yeah, the legs look so familiar. It's a very familiar shape on that one, but I can't quite tell that one either. Anyway, should be interesting. They look cool. And then a couple other ones, I guess, that he's also working on. So I guess we'll see some more about those in the future. But for now, the MS in Enhanced Landscape here, the Wild River, and I think it's Masaki, modeled by Bud. Okay, so different one this time, by Bud and Wild River. So this is the Master Grade Zaku 2. Man, it looks so cool. I really like this. All the customization to that, giving it a very kind of real world kind of look to it. Or I guess like real sci-fi world, of course, obviously. The grays with the orange, of course. The orange looks fantastic up on that. And some really nice, it's got a little bit like, it's got some heavier weathering in certain areas, but some really nice subtle weathering in some areas as well too. That looks very cool. And some amazing detail. Some areas being super detailed. And the red fingers, that's cool. So man, it says a lot. There's a lot to like about this. The big 14 logo, I mean just the big marking logo decal there on the shoulder. Very interesting. That looks like it's a part of like a haropla. Definitely that's like stuck on the front of there. Yeah, lots of little detail added to this. So it's got to be like kit bash, little greebly parts from other different like Star Wars kits or something, for example. There's probably a lot of that in there. But that looks really cool. Here's some coloring data over there talking about the colors used on that. Interesting. And so here's Wild River's aspect of that. Wild River is a primarily a diorama artist. And so I'm guessing like he did the diorama and Bud did the actual mobile suit there. So yeah, this is very cool. I'd already seen some pictures of this around on Twitter as well too. Having the Zaku like coming out of like this hangar, and you got the kind of launch pad here. We'll see probably some more photos on the next couple pages of that. Really nice lighting effects on that as well too, making it really look like it's in space. So super dark photos here, but it's lit up by the lights that are added in there into the display. And especially like in the hangar down here, you have that like much more brightly lit in there where the Zaku's coming out of, with all these different cables and stuff added onto it. Very, very cool. Round theater. Okay. It's got lots of detail images here of that. Making of Lucky Rabbit, I guess is the kind of title of this work. So you got some images here showing like the building of the base kind of that by Wild River. It's more detail images of that. Very cool. All right, Gundam Factory Yokohama Gundam Dock here. So it's just information about that. I think, you know, Bandai's just putting this in, adding this in as some advertisement. Nothing really to modeling related. And then we have Funny Arts. Okay, I'm not really sure what that's about, but these, I have seen these around on Twitter as well too. Who's the artist for these? I'm trying to find a name. The name is only there in Japanese, and I can't read that kanji, but there's a couple of different, obviously, Reconquista and G kits here with some very unique style painting done on them. Sort of like a, I don't know, what it's like, techno camo sort of thing with, I don't know. It's not really for me. It's a little bit not to my taste, but it's very interestingly done. I do like this bases though. That's really cool. How that base is made. I guess it's got some like this light ring set up there at the base, and then these parts going up to that. So that looks really cool. And then all the LEDs around on the actual mobile suit are pretty interesting. It certainly makes for some cool photographs. But that must have been interesting to actually do all the masking for that, because I'm not sure. As far as I know, I don't know if any mask. I mean, it all looks specifically like, it's not like just randomly. If you bought like some hexagon shaped camo masking tape, for example, to make that, this all looks very specifically designed for this. So he made the design and then had to do all that masking on that. I mean, that's a lot of work, but yeah, interesting. So there you go. There's those. Now, last few pages here, not in color, and that's where it usually gets to like some kind of interview kind of stuff. And so again, just all in Japanese. So just talking about some other different works here. It's a really cool looking Hainu there. I wish we had some more photos of that, or what that is there. Looks like it's like a mix. It's one of those ones where it's like a half clear, half not clear kind of suits, but it looks quite cool. And we got some of this other modeling stuff in here. Gunpla Team Kingdom. Here's some more. Here's an interview with Naoki and Wild River and Bud talking about that build. Again, it's a common feature in the back of these. They always have like an interview talking about the Wild River collaboration. And then with Max and Rampage talking about their collaboration. So again, these would be really interesting just conversations here to translate. I would love to do that. Maybe that's something to work on in the future. If you guys would like to see some of these translated, let me know. Some of these interviews translated. Like, I couldn't do like the entire magazine, certainly not. But just for example, this interview between Max and Naoki and Rampage, for example, I could probably do that. It takes a while, but sure. All right, so there's a little bit more there, and then of course we have our decals here. So one of the great things that I love about the Gundam Hobby Life magazines is the inclusion of some waterslide decals. Although I wish they would tell you where to cut on here, because I'm always nervous cutting these open that I'm going to cut into the decals. Fortunately, this time I pulled it off without a hitch. All right, here is those decals. Very cool. So you got some Neo Japan ones there, satellite system. So it's basically for like all the different mobile suits that are featured in here. So you got ones for the Barbatos, ones for the Wing Zero, ones for the God Gundam, for the Gundam X, for the Freedom, or the Strike Freedom, or Freedom or Strike Freedom, Gundam Age, 00, So you got kind of a mix of some different marking logos here for kind of all those main Gundams that were featured in the magazine. So those look great. You got blue, white, red, and gray, dark gray there for those. Very cool indeed. So, all right, if you got any of those that you're planning on building, it's great to have these on hand. Some custom ones that I guess would be different from ones featured on other different water-slide logo sheets. So there you have it, guys, another awesome issue of GHL. What did you guys think about that? If you want to check out some of the kits featured in this issue or anything else, of course, you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. Check out what we've got in stock there on the site, and you can use my coupon code there as well, too, to save 10% off everything there on the site. So check that out, and as always, thank you to them. Thank you to USA Gundam Store for making it all possible, guys. And until next time, hope you're all having a great day. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.